welcome to Sunday Reflections. It's a new year, and I know you've been having Christmas and New Year's and all these things that are happening, but you know what we have today? We have a true new year, a new year that you will be able to understand and you'll appreciate, because we've been very blessed today to have with us the chairman of the county commission. Oh, yes, sir. So how are you doing, Clay?
Well, that and
Clay Murphy is his name.
That and $2.50 to get you all the coffee you can drink at the coffee shop. So,
well, we'll talk a little bit about that, but I've got a couple people that we have as that as well, because I think we'll talk about a little bit about some kind of barbecue and things like that,
we can talk about it.
All right. So, as you all know, we have two great people that have been helping us and to be our sponsors here, and we'll start with DJ's Clam Shack. That you all have heard me talk about. It's just really a big craving, fresh, most flavorful seafood in the heart of historic St. Augustine. And you know where I've told you before, it goes to DJ's Clam Shack is on 21 Hippolytus Street, which is where Northeast meets Key West. And that's born in the Florida Keys and rooted in New England. And that's the tradition that it's been, and it's so good. And DJ serves up lobster rolls, fried clams, conch fritters, and more, made fresh with the highest quality, ingredients, and prices you will love. Open Tuesday through Sunday from 11 to 9. It's the perfect spot to grab a bite, stroll the old streets. You can go through all the places around. You're going downtown. You go through St. George Street. You go through everything else. And what you find is it's one of the best tastes that you'll ever find in seafood experiences in the country. So you'll find that really good.
Oh, I'm looking forward to going and visiting that. Pammy and I love to walk downtown, especially during Nights of Lights, and so we'll make it a.
Well, we're gonna see how that goes. Well, the other one that we have on here, as you all know, and you know them well, is the Shee family, and we'd like to give our heartfelt thanks to them, because the Shee family is one of the most generous and community-focused families here in St. Johns County. And through their work with Tringali Barn, that's a premier event where you can have your weddings and all the other stuff there, and it's the leadership by Chris Shee. And the family continues to support and counts local people, local things that make things so good for us, that their commitment to giving back makes a lasting impact to what's going on, and we are truly grateful to them in our community, truly grateful. And thank you, the Shee family. You make St. Johns County much better. Thank you.
They sure do. I've known Chris and his family for many years, and they continue to outgive. It's so funny. God's math is not like our math. It's different. But I think Chris has discovered that that wonderful thing that the more you give, the more he gives, and his math is different. So. His blessings comes from being a blessing, and he sure is.
I just saw that he went fishing again with his wife, and they did that not long ago. I saw it on Facebook, and so he's doing so much stuff.
He's living life, man. He's living life. I love it.
That's right. Well, I want to talk a little bit, because Clay, I've known you, and I'll tell you when I first met you, and it was kind of a strange time. Steve Alexander had asked me to come and do it because there was an empty space there to be on the going from all of the miracle homes that are there, Alpha and Omega, and I went over I'd already been to some of the other places there where they have them across the way near 312 and all of that, and I'd gone and met with the people and the elderly people that were there that were helping the younger girls and their babies and all of that.
Yeah, that's a crazy symbiotic, God blessed.
Well,
connection.
And then Lisa Franklin, we became really very close friends, and so here I went to see where where you have all of the Alpha and Omega has a place that sells things for people that
the thrift store.
Yeah. Well, that's where I first met you.
Had a great thrift store.
Well, that's where I first met you, and you wondered why I was there, and
so why are you here?
Yeah, that's right. It was kind of like, well, I was just dressed like normal, not with the way I am today, but just probably with my jeans on or shorts, whatever it was. And I realized that, and I didn't know you. And I thought, he doesn't really like me. I can see that. That was it. But then later, passing all of this time, I went and saw you in Palatka. And I know that you used to be there for so many years, and that was where you were living and stuff
I
as
grew
well.
up there.
Yeah, no, I know that, and I know that. And so I saw you at a place that you were doing the barbecue there. We were in that one little place, and they were doing that to bring a new place in and all of that, and that was the place. And from that point on, we began to know each other. And it was so great for me to be able to see you and I know your background. I mean, the background you can talk about because I'll tell you who it is. He doesn't have to say it because I've seen it. And you've worked for the police in the highway patrol.
Right.
You did that for how many years?
26 years.
26 years, and then you did motorcycle. You did stuff for that.
Yeah,
you did all of those things. You went on to doing airplane stuff as well. So you did that. You rode a motorcycle yourself. You still do, and so
still fly.
Yeah.
I was really blessed in my career with the patrol. I was able to be the bear in the air, to fly, and I also did 13 years as a motor trooper.
Yeah,
on a motorcycle. So God's been good to me. I was on the teams when I was young, on the SWAT teams when I was young in Dade County, but really blessed to have a fun career. About every 5-10 years, I get a chance to go do something different, and just it was a real blessing. It's a young man's game, though. I'm really glad to have passed it on to the next generation who are, carrying the flag for us on the streets of Florida. But really blessed to have a small part of that.
Well, I remember too. Then you started working at a restaurant that did barbecue.
Yeah, got a chance to buy into the Sonny's franchise here after I retired. So I've been a barbecue guy for about 17 years, 17 and a half now. But ironically, when I got elected as a county commissioner, my wife fired me. She said, "You ain't got time for barbecue anymore." So they're handling all the barbecue stuff.
Well, let's talk about that just for a second.
Sure.
Because you saw some lady there at the barbecue shop.
Yeah.
So which one was that at?
Well, let me tell you, I'll tell you the story. I just transferred up here from Miami. When I joined the patrol, there was a big push to go to Dade County because of the Cuban boat crisis and all the stuff that was happening in the early 80s. So I went down there for 9 years in 16 days, but who's counting? So I transferred back home, and less than a month later, we're working an aircraft detail. And if you don't know what an aircraft detail, I'll just kind of make it real short. A guy in an airplane is flying about anywhere from 1,200 to 2,000 feet above the road with a painted quarter mile, and they're using certified stopwatches to clock cars. And then if he finds a violator, then he'll call them down to us on the ground. I was blessed to do that for about 5 years after that, but that day I was one of the troopers on the ground, and it was my turn to go to the airport to pick the pilot up for lunch. And I met the legend Andy Brown, and I said, "Where you want to go?" He says, "The prettiest redhead in town works at Sonny's Barbecue, so let's go to Sonny's." So we did. The prettiest redhead in town waited on us, actually waited on our row. We actually sat on her row, which is purely coincidental. And I knew from the moment she walked down that first row, I said, that's the one. And I told all the guys sitting at the table with me, I says, "I'm going to marry that one." And a year and a half later, they were all at our wedding when we got married. And that was over 32 years ago. And 3 children, 6 grandchildren, God has blessed us so much. And because of her, I give Pammy all the credit, not just for working in a barbecue place and for being the barbecue connection, but for being an amazing wife, an amazing mother, and now an amazing Nana. So
that's great. Well, I knew that happened in your life, and all those grandkids and everything else now, and your anniversaries are right around the period of time that pretty much are. When was the date of your anniversary?
Well, I met her December 27th, 1991.
So Joe and I ended up having our anniversary. We got married on December the 20th.
Okay.
So we went and did our stuff. So we had to do that because we were both at school so that we could have a honeymoon together.
over the break.
So that was the same thing. And so here you are doing this stuff, because I knew it was over that period of time. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of tie you into that.
December 27th. It's her mother's birthday. She was actually having to go to her mother's birthday party that night. But it took a year for her to even go out on a date with me.
Yeah.
So she's a lot smarter than I am.
Well, that's just the way it is. So then after you're going into that Sonny's barbecue place, because I've gone to the one on 301 and other places too, which used to be one of the first ones that they had
out there on Waldo Road.
That's
it is
right.
The first.
It is. Yeah, I've been there too plenty of times and stuff. So I've been to yours, but it's no longer at the same place. And
the US One store.
You moved it out further south.
Yeah.
But I knew that, and that was always a place I would kind of go to as well on barbecue.
It was where everybody went.
Yeah.
And it's been a real blessing to our family for a lot of years.
Well, somehow God had you come into getting out of the barbecue base, and how did that happen?
I really felt a calling to service in this specific position as commissioner years ago, almost 15 years ago. And, for me, I was just a barbecue guy, just a old retired trooper. I didn't feel like, I just didn't feel worthy. I didn't understand the calling. I didn't understand why there was this draw from the Lord to run for office. And so I just, like Jonah, I ran, I made every excuse I could think of in the book to not do this, because it would involve serious personal sacrifice. And I had no idea how much until I ran. But when Paul Waldron passed away, God had we made it through COVID with our business. We learned shortly after COVID, a year or two later, that we weren't going to be able to keep the US One store. The plan was we go to 16 and buy the property and remodel, because we were in a remodel phase. From the company was requiring a remodel, so we're going to have to put a lot of money into the store. So we bought the property out at 16 from the Waldrons, from the family, remodeled. The plan was in 2020 to do that at US One, and COVID hit. And when you go from doing $3,000 a day in sales to $300 a day, it really challenged us. So when things got back to normal, construction costs had tripled, and so we just knew that we weren't going to be able to save that store.
Same way it is with government too, for trying to get roads done and stuff. How high it's gone up, It's gone
crazy, which is another challenge
we're going to talk a little bit.
We'll talk about. But just knowing that we weren't going to be able to save it was really heartbreaking. We actually were the Waldron family was our landlords for a lot of years. Harry actually built the first one in 1978, which was the original one in US One. And then the boys, I say the boys, they're not boys, but the sons built the one at 16 that we bought from them about 7 or 8 years ago. So anyway, I knew that, we weren't going to be able to go forward with that store. So we only had one store, and we kept all of our people. We moved everybody over. It was a decision that my wife and I made to keep our people, even though it really cut into the profit margin. In business, you have to make money. But one of the things we discovered is that when we kept our people together, we were able to continue to pay the bills and keep everybody employed. All of our managers went over. So that was it was a business decision that we made to put people over profits. Could we have a lot more money in the bank? Maybe, but we wouldn't have what we have. And what now is we have one of the best stores in the chain, I think. But Richie, my son-in-law, Richie Irvin, ran that store. Pam and I were basically on US One, and he was at 16, and so there was really no place for me.
Right. He had to do
honestly, that. I would come in and probably not be the best for the company. And then Paul passes away, which was heartbreaking, because I'd known Paul a long time and had a lot of conversation with Paul over the years about maybe running for office when he was done. And then Paul passes away in office, and that's, God I felt like God was standing behind me with his hands on his hips going, do you now understand why that I want you to do this? And I'm like, because he had moved all the obstacles, all the things I'd complained about years ago, he had removed. And so I said, okay. And Pammy and we'd prayed about it extensively for a long time. And so we just came to the conclusion that with Paul gone, we needed a Paul Waldron-esque, and I'm not saying that I would be anywhere near as smart or as wise as Paul was. He was shockingly wise. Yeah. Because, people would look at him and they would underestimate his intellect. He was very smart.
Oh, yeah.
Had very, very common sense approach and was a really good commissioner. And my desire was to try to follow along in that vein of trying to be a common sense commissioner who really wanted to get as much information as I could and make the best decision for the people of St. Johns County. There's been some controversy over my first year about whether I was supported by one group or supported by another, but the truth of the matter is that I do extensive homework on each individual item, and I pray for wisdom from an all-knowing, all-loving God, and then I vote my conscience. And if it falls to one side or the other, it's not because of anything other than that's just the way it goes. And so I stand by the votes that I've made. I stand by what I've supported. Growth is it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. People everywhere are saying the same things. And so one of the things that I really want to try to do is find a way to work on making our infrastructure more compatible to the people that we have here now. That's right. The people that live here need a government that is working for them to make their life better, to improve their quality of life. And to say that, let me just put a caveat in there real quick. Your son says it best. He says he's the mayor, or is for another couple hours. Right. The mayor of the best city in the best county in the best state in the best country in the world. And we're so fortunate to live in St. Johns County. This is, even with the problems that we have, if you really look around and open up and look around and go to and realize this is the best place in the world to live. And it's not a surprise why everybody wants to live here. Right. The challenge is, who are we as a people in St. Johns County? Are we going to slam the door shut and say, we got in, nobody else can? Or are we going to be the kind of people that say, can we make room? And the question is, if we can make room, what does that look like? I'm a conservative, which, the root of that is conserve. I'm a conservationist. Right. And I believe in conserving as much land as we possibly can at St. Johns County and leave it the way it is, and not, it's so complicated trying to get lands into conservation so they stay in conservation. Right. And so it's a huge task, and it's very expensive, and it's one of the things that I've put on my priority list for this next year as chair. So, well, there you go. Hopefully, we can find a way to fund lands in conservation that we really need.
Yeah, well, that's part of where we are in life, because we see this. We've gone through. I remember when Joe and I came back we had been 6 months driving on a VW Campmobile throughout all of Europe, because I was going on to be a part, after I got injured in Fort Benning, that I was going to still be helping and became very active with going in to be the Peace Corps of the states. There's one that President Johnson followed up with President Kennedy, to make that to be also here for us Americans, to have the people here also help, just like we help people in other countries. Right. And so we signed up for it. And I had met with some of the Black Panthers when I was working in Washington, and I met them, and I was never afraid of anybody. I just you'll find that in my life, God has taken me, and I never knew all of that in terms of where I was going, because I've been in so many places. I've been with so many people. There's no way that I could have done any of this. There's none without God.
Yep.
And so
I feel the same way.
well, you can't. And so what happened was that we were going to go to the worst place in all of the United States, in Oakland, California. And Oakland had so many bad things going on in there. And so as a result of that, we were signed up. Well, we couldn't get going right away. We had to do it 6 months from then. And we ended up saying, well, we try to do something else. And well, we said, okay, let's go and do our trip around. And we got to see so many people in so many countries that we knew who they were,
Right.
so that we could tell them when we get to Oakland how that's going to be. Well, dadgum, at that point in time, the then President Nixon decided he didn't want a single lawyer to be doing anything that would help anybody. And so we ended up coming to Jacksonville.
Well,
And that's
glad you did.
That was where God took us, and it was a very simple thing about it, and it has still allowed us to continue to be helping people, and that's always been the case. That's why you see Dylan doing what he's doing,
Yeah.
because he saw what was going on and how you help people.
And,
It's not about yourself; it's always about others.
Dylan's one of my favorite people.
Well,
I love the guy.
I'll let you stand in front of that.
There you go. He's one of my favorite people. I absolutely adore that guy.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, that's the reason, as we do things together, we do things when we have a circle. And that circle means everybody, whether you're poor or rich, they should be all together.
Yep.
And whether they're color of that or different religions, I don't care. As long as we work together, because God will lead us on the path of righteousness. And that's where we want to be. And so I feel very comfortable of doing that. And I know that once we started having a conversation together, you even taken some of my daggum poems and stuff. So I and you don't know how many that I now have out there.
Yeah.
It takes me 2.5 hours to do everybody.
Well, it's funny about that is every now and then when I'm reading a new one, God will put somebody's face in my mind that needs it, and I would share it with them.
Yeah.
And it's been very powerful. Do the people know about your poems?
I try. They hear a poem each time. In fact, why don't we do this? I've got one that I did for today.
Okay.
It only took me exactly less than 7 minutes to write this whole poem, because it wasn't from me. It was not from me. If it had been with me, then I wouldn't have not able to do it. And I'll just get that right now, and I'll tell you what it goes. And it's the one that is called Achieving the Journey. No one but God can make a journey that is made of truth and justice, because God is pure and is love. Our journey is not made the same because we make mistakes, and we take our journey on worldly thoughts by ourselves. It is only faith and trust that can make us find the journeys that take us to where God leads us. We think we can is just a guess. We think we can, it's just a guess. But trusting God to hold our hands gives us more than what we could ever find that gives us love inside. We are sure that many times we thought it was you without God, but in hindsight, you always knew every good thing comes from God. It's our time this new year to put our hearts and souls into the righteous right hand of God, and then you will have a new beginning. Take it from the prophets who depended on God, and they knew there is nothing they could do that gives us hope without being close to Him. Your life is worth more than birds or bees and leaves of grass and beautiful trees that God feeds with food and water. If you begin your journey without God, you will never be able to say, "Thank you, God, for saving me and bringing me back to you in eternity." So that was today. And so what happens when I do these, it's not from me. It's not. If it's from me, it takes an hour to do it, then I have to get rid of it, because it's not really what it was supposed to be.
Right.
And so sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I don't know where it's going, and sometimes it's things there. But that's not what's important today. Today is important because you set up the time for this year to be helping the St. Johns County and leading it to a place that will keep us together. And I feel very comfortable about that. And I think that that's the reason that you're sitting here today.
Well, I really appreciate that. You know, I was thinking about it. Pammy and I got a chance to take a couple of days off over the holidays, and I was really thinking about it because the realities of being in public service are that you face criticism, some of it justified, but the majority of it not. So I really wanted to go back and re-examine my motives and intentions, you know, and to really kind of hold them up to the light of a just God and say, you know, am I doing this for my flesh, or am I doing this because you've led me this way? And I really feel like, you know, I don't want to say that there's not any flesh in it, because I really think that I need to be just stripped honest about it.
We're human.
Yeah. But what God showed me was that, you know, my desire is just to serve, truly to serve, which is why, you know, for the first year, I'm looking back over the first year and going, you know, I probably had my head down too much, answering emails and helping people that had problems. I get emails all day long from people who just don't know where to go, right, and don't know how to get an answer to their question, or don't know how to solve a problem that they have. And it could be anything from a neighbor conflict to a drainage issue to all kinds of things. And so, you know, for the first year, I literally had my head down, just answering people's issues, you know, and working on that and learning the job. But this next year, it's time for me to get my head up and realize that there's a broader picture that I need to look at now as chair. I need to look at this more macro instead of micro. You know, I've been looking inward, and I probably need to, as the chair, need to look a little more outward and say, you know, what can we do for St. Johns County? I know one of the things that we need desperately is to lift the burden of our infrastructure deficits off the backs of property tax payers and get support from the state and the federal government. They have programs that are designed for infrastructure, and we need to make sure that we're in line to get some of the things that we need. You know, I say this a lot. You know, we as St. John's, people from St. Johns County, we pay a lot of money to the state and state sales tax and state gas tax, $350 million a year. And it's reasonable for us to expect support for our capital improvement projects from the state when we give that much money to them every year. We're just asking for some help. You know, Stairage 16 needs to be 4-lane. 210 needs to be done. There's a 2209 in IGP needs to be fixed. Those are tens of millions of dollars projects that we need to get off the backs of our taxpayers and put it in, and to get the support from the state and the federal government that I feel like we deserve. That's kind of, as a Christian, it's kind of hard for me to say, you know, give me because we deserve. But we pay a lot in, and we give a lot as a county. And so my job is to go onto that state and federal level and get the support that we need to make our quality of life better here. I-95 is a mess. I've seen it.
Right. Oh, it's terrible.
I've seen it when I first transferred here, you know, 35 years ago. I worked midnights a lot, and you could literally set a card table up it was 4-lane back then. You could set a card table up and eat a sandwich at 3:00 in the morning because there wasn't any traffic. Right. Now we've got 6 lanes, and there's never a moment of rest. When there's a crash on I-95, and there is almost every day, our streets are flooded with people trying to travel.
They come right through St. Augustine.
They come right through St. Augustine, because there's nowhere else to go, and It's frustrating for me. You know, somebody took a picture sitting in traffic. It was a crash on the interstate. He's on one of the side roads sitting in traffic. He takes a picture and he tags me on social media, and he blames me because he's sitting in traffic.
Yeah.
Because I'm the commissioner, right? I caused this. But you know, even though, you know, but the challenge I have is that I have to take ownership of that.
That's right.
My responsibility as commissioner now is to try to find solutions to those issues and not say it was someone else's problem.
Right.
It's not someone else's problem
it's the
anymore.
Entire commission, the entire commission's problem.
It's our problem
That's right.
to find solutions to the issues that we're facing as they come up. Sometimes we're playing back catch up, you know, reactionary. You know, something happens and then we have to react to it. But I feel like we really need to look up and try to be more actionary instead of reactionary to the issues. We still have things we have to do. We've got to fix the roads. We've got to make sure that the potholes are done. We've got to look at solutions for traffic. When you put a high school with no feeder to it, and they have to line up on 2209, on IGP, they line up on IGP and back traffic up for, I don't want to say hours, but if you have to sit in traffic for more than 5-10 minutes, we need to find a solution for that. And so I'm glad we have good people working. I also want to throw a shout out to the county. And I, as the commissioner now, I'm discovering that we have an amazing county. The people that work, that do the job, you know, that pick up the garbage, that fix the potholes, that clean the roads, that take care of our utilities, that, you know, dig our ditches. Those people are out there. They're working. They love this county. They love their job, and it shows in their job performance. And each individual person that works for the county needs to be commended for the job that they're doing. I'm so proud of my county.
Well, you have a great county administrator as well. And
we do,
and that's really something that's hard to get. And
they're very rare. People don't understand the challenge that a lot of cities and counties have today of finding a competent administrator.
Right.
And whether it's a city or a county. And so we are blessed to have a good one. Yeah. And we'd kind of like to hang on to it for a little bit.
Yeah. And I think as part of what we're talking about today, it's very interesting because what we are doing is sharing with you a little bit more about what is new to you. And this is a new year. So as a result of being a new year, I want you to understand how things work and how things don't work and how you can be of help. And not only do you got to help, you're able to help families that are next to you, families in your neighborhood, help all of these people because everybody should be helping each other. So I think that the way you've been working has been to try to make that happen. And I think in just 1 year, you can see how quick it goes.
It goes fast. I've turned around and it's been a year, but there's so much more to do. The one thing I would like to add on to that, if I can add my voice to yours when
Sure.
it comes to that, and let me kind of talk to people, is that, you know, we really are blessed in this county. We have an amazing place to live. And what I see is the people that have bought in and said, you know, I'm going to make the most of this place. I'm going to volunteer. I'm going to give. I'm going to work, are really happy. And people that don't, people that say, that complain all the time and have nothing but negative things to say are not very happy. And one of the things I've learned is that it's all about attitude. You know, this is a great place to live. Go somewhere else for a year and then come back and say, yes, we have challenges. It's just like this nation. Is this the best nation in the world? I think it is. But people can complain about some of the things that are the injustices that happen here. But just go to another country and live there for a year. And then you'd come back with a different appreciation. So we are so blessed to live in St. Johns County. And I would encourage people to find the good, work towards the bad, and to help us kind of solve some of the problems that we have. But look at all the good.
Yeah.
Don't forget to see how blessed we are to live here.
Well, I know that, and you have a lot of events that take place here too, that are so good that are there, both music events and other kinds that come in. And people at different places where they have these events. I know there's one coming up also on something dealing on the 10th of this month.
Yep.
That's going to be having stuff in your area.
Yep. The Jimmy Jam's coming up Sunday. This started 10 years. I think this is the 10th anniversary. It started with 12 teams, 12 barbecue teams. It was a very, very small event. This year, it is KCBS certified competition, but it's not just the barbecue. They're going to have 70, 80 of the world's best barbecue teams in the world here. The car shows, the craft fairs, the cornhole tournaments. It's a family event, and it's the most fun thing that I can do. I got a chance to work the garbage crew a couple years ago, and probably had more fun working the garbage crew than I did anything else. But my wife and I have been involved in some way or another from we won the very first Jimmy Jam barbecue contest.
Oh wow!
So I've got a little trophy about that big. This is first place.
That's right.
We're real proud of that. But we've helped either with doing the judging.
Why don't you explain where that's going to be if somebody wants to go? And
absolutely. And if you get a chance to go. It's at the fairgrounds this year on 207 out in Elkton. But if you get a chance to go, it is going to be, it's amazing. It's an amazing event. It raises money for the Jimmy Jam charities. And if you don't know what that is, Jimmy Jam basically was started because of a guy named Jimmy who was sick. Tim Gauze and Jeff Gatlin. Tim's a barbecue guy, and he would make chicken dinners and sell chicken dinners to raise money for Jimmy is really how it started. And then when Jimmy passed away with cancer, they decided to start a 501c3 and raise money for anybody who needs it. And it could be for anything. It could be a light bill or car payment or insurance or groceries or whatever you need. There's an online application. I'm not sure but you can Google it, Jimmy Jam Charities. But if you need help, there's a process. I think there's only 3 people on the board, and they get an application and they vote on it and they write a check.
Wow.
It's just, and $0 goes to anything administrative. Every dime that they raise goes right back out to the people that need it. It's an amazing charity. You know, Chris is one of the main sponsors. Sonny's has been a sponsor for many years. We do this because it's a great charity and they're wonderful people.
Yeah. Well, I knew that was happening.
It's going to be fun too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've had so many things here. We've got really great places. Fort Mose. I mean, we've got things that other people don't have. Just as you've been gone that during that period, I happened to go over to Northwest Florida, and I hadn't been there in lots of time. And you talk about really lots of traffic. When we got inside there on what is called 30A, State Road 30A, you couldn't go anywhere except on bumper to bumper because it was the same way to people get there. And it was very hard to find any parking or anything like that, which is what we know about altogether. And likewise, when I was going back and forth to Key West to help the first responders, I ended up going on a trip coming back in Miami, and I'm about 7 miles from the airport, on the 6-lane road on each side, 12 lanes of road.
Yep.
And I'm there, and they had a wreck that had three cars that had hit and blocked 3 lanes.
Yep.
I was on that. I was there for 42 minutes before I got all the way through, and everybody was trying to cut in and out of you, whether you were going 1 second a mile or just to get in and just sneak in. I mean, where have we been with people that think that they own the streets?
It's crazy.
I mean, they're going 100 miles an hour and stuff. I mean, why when you go traveling, use that time together. Don't worry about trying to get there 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
Because that 5 minutes earlier might cause you to be in a wreck. And that's
Pam and I took a motorcycle trip. We get just her and I. We got on the bike and we went to Maine. We went to Portland, Maine, and back. But along the way, we stopped in Cape Cod. We drove through Boston, and we went to Manhattan. We actually drove the motorcycle downtown into Manhattan, at Times Square, and spent the night and went to a Broadway show. Yes, we saw uh, a show there. But so then we went to Atlantic City, then we went to Washington D.C., and then we went to Charlotte, North Carolina. We went a lot of places on the bike. And to say that we are blessed in St. Johns County is an understatement.
Yeah, right.
It's an understatement.
Yeah, I remember going through New York to Connecticut. I mean, it's just forever.
We had fun. We had fun. But the only place that almost got run over was right there in New York as we crossed the Hudson going into New York.
It's terrible.
It was
terrible stuff. They cut in and out all the time.
It was crazy.
Yeah, no.
It was crazy. No. It was the only time my wife in 25 years of riding with me has actually reached up and grabbed me by the arms and panicked because of the traffic. Yeah. And I was like, don't grab my arms.
Yeah, that's right. But, well, I know Pat wouldn't do that to you.
No, she's an amazing pastor. Yeah, we have so much fun. She rides. She makes my riding better by the way she rides with me.
Yeah.
I talk about her a lot. We've been married 32 years, and I'm shocked at how much better it gets. How good it is, but how much better it gets every year. We're so blessed.
Yeah, well, Joe and I were for 52 years, and that
what a blessing.
When you lose that period of time, it's not the same. So
I hear you.
Where it works. So as we're going through the rest of this, I wanted to talk a little bit more about your involvement with nonprofits yourself and what you've been able to do, and being with Flagler and all of that, and helping those people there at the work that do sporting stuff and all that. You got to share that with us here.
I met Judd Damon, the athletic director, about 15, 16 years ago when he first came here, and he came into Sonny's and we met, and he started talking about, sponsoring the athletics, because they didn't have a lot of commercial sponsorship when it came to their athletics program. And as well as I do, is that, having money in the bank, having some funds to do things with is really, really important, especially in a small town like this. So Pammy and I started becoming corporate sponsors years ago. And then he asked me to join the board of Alpha, the Saints Club Advisory Board. And then I moved along that board up to a vice chair and then chairman of the board. This will be my third year, I think, as being the chairman of the Saints Club Advisory Board. And it's basically what we do is we help raise money for scholarships and for equipment and things that they need. It's just like a booster club at the high school, only in a different level. And we're able to bring in money every year to help these kids with their college experience. Just having the money to make sure that they have a locker room is important. So I've been very blessed with my association with the Flagler College. John Delaney, the new president, is I say new. Oh my gosh, it's been 4 or 5 years now. He's been there, but he has just been a difference maker. One of the first things he said when he came in is that normally when he goes to a college, the athletics program is the first place you have to fix.
Yeah, and
he was so grateful that the athletics program was the last place he had to look coming into Flagler, because they're really good. They're character based. All the coaches are all character based. The staff is character based. It's an amazing group. My association with Lisa Franklin and Alpha Omega started about 25 years ago.
Wow.
And Pam and I have been supporters of them. I served on the board about 12 years and was the chair about 9 of those. Was very honored to be a small part of their growth and development. They're fixing to open a new campus. I'm so excited about the new campus. It's amazing. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, Lisa said for me to come on over and see where it is now. Since the last time I was there, when they did the crosses and they had the crosses put in and stuff as well.
Yeah, so, but I remember the old home in Hastings, and then the few places that we started over here off of Old Moultrie, and and that turned into about 25 units, and now we've got Lisa. I think Bobby Crum is the new chairman. I think he's fixing to roll out, and someone else is coming in. But they've really they've taken it to new levels. I'm so proud of what they're accomplishing.
I know they have people sleep at night as
well.
Sleep
out. I went to the very first sleep out. It was For me, former law enforcement, sleeping outside was very nerve wracking. Very, very light. I got an epiphany trying to sleep outside because of my security fears and concerns. I couldn't imagine trying to raise a family that way. So providing stuff like that at Alpha is so important. If you don't know what Alpha Mega Miracle Home is, it's a place that Lisa Franklin started years ago from the callings of the Lord. And what it does is they actually take these homeless young mothers and these homeless senior women.
That's right.
And they put them together in the same apartment. The symbiotic relationship between these older women who still have something to give and who just blossom at being needed.
Oh, absolutely.
With these young mothers who, whether they even know it or not, need that wisdom coming from our older women. It was God's idea from the beginning with the family unit, but people who don't have family units, they're reproducing the family unit under the guide and care of the loving God in a safe environment. It's an amazing.
Yeah,
program.
we had them on we had an elderly lady on there that's at one of the places, along with the person that was maintaining this as the administrator for helping them in different places together. Yeah. And we went through some of that because I thought if you all wanted to see it, it's still on YouTube and you can see it. It's there, and how it became so important to them, because you have somebody who's alone, who's no longer alone, but giving up the wisdom that they have to help someone else that doesn't have that information yet.
Well, you go from being an outcast,
that's right,
to being needed.
That's right. Well, we're all needed. We all are.
We all need to be needed. That's for
right.
sure.
That's right.
And so it's a great group. It's hopefully they'll be able to reproduce what they have here in St. Johns County and other places around the country.
Right. So then, in addition to those two, I thought you had some other things that you've been doing with other nonprofits and other things as well that you've done. It may not be as a specific one, but I know you've been doing other ones too that you've been helping.
You know, one of the things that Pam and I, we do a lot of things that nobody knows about, and I'm blessed to be able to say that I'd rather keep it that way.
Okay, I knew you were doing more. So
yeah,
we
I think she went back and counted. Just last year, we were able to support about 42 different charities.
Yeah, I knew you were doing more than that.
And that's, you know, in just small ways. You know, nothing
doesn't matter. Anything.
Nothing big. Just we've been blessed with our business. The people in St. Johns County have supported our business, and because of that, we've been able to support our high schools, our middle schools, our and the little league teams. The things that most people don't really get a chance to see. My wife is really big in supporting, because my son went to Pedro, and now my grandson is at the high school.
Wow.
People say, which high school? The high school, St. Augustine,
right.
Yellow Jackets.
That's right.
And so we're. My wife has such a generous heart. People say, "Are you going to retire one day?" And I'm going to be. I can't. My wife gives all her money away, so I'm gonna have to work till the day I die. But it's such a blessing to be able to help that way. Growing up, we didn't really have a lot growing up, and it's funny. You talk to people who grew up. I'm a boomer.
Right.
I was like, holy cow, what's a boomer? But I was born in 1960, and so we didn't really have a lot growing up. Like most middle class families back then, they didn't have a lot. So to be able to help in this way has just been a huge blessing for us.
Yeah. Well, I've heard of the Z people now are not liking the boomers because they're now retiring and they have to pay for them.
And they got to pay for us.
Right.
Well, don't worry, I'm not retiring. Lord willing, I've still got, I've got 3 more years, left of my term. And I'm going to run again. Lord willing, I'm going to run again. And so I've got about 7 years left to give Lord willing.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's really significant as well. And
yeah.
I know that I know you knew Henry Dean really well, and
I know Henry Dean really well. What a great guy.
Yeah, we get together ourselves every now and then to have a cigar during watching football and golf. So we get to do those two things together, and we have that same feeling about helping others. And
wait a minute, where's my golf cigar invitation? I must have misplaced that somewhere.
That's it. Well, we can do that anytime. We try to do it on Sunday after church. So
that's a good time to do it.
Yeah, that's what we normally do. So, but the 1 o'clock is next week is the Jaguars. I mean, you all know that this is a new year for the Jaguars for a long time, where they're now playing in the thing, and they're playing against Buffalo here in Jacksonville.
It's going to be a tough game. One of my grandsons is a Buffalo Bills fan, and the other one's a Jaguars fan.
That's on Sunday at 1 p.m. Yeah, Sunday at 1 p.m. So maybe you want to come over there then. I'll be glad to see you. So I'll get Henry to seat up another chair. So there you go.
Slide up another chair. I'll bring the cigar. So
all right. But anyway, it's part of where our lives are. Our lives continue to go different ways.
Yeah.
But the way that you go the best is following God.
Right.
And if you do that, there's nothing that harms you. You might feel like, I always think about when I get to that place where there's two ways to go, this one or that one, and we're at that place and you have to make that decision.
Yeah.
Well, that decision has a choice, and it may seem like the one on the one side is going to be so good because they have music and everything else going down that path, and it'll just take you wherever it is. You'll have so much fun. The other one may have to take you around a mountain, and then when you find out that happens, you found out that the one on the other side, if you had taken that one instead of the one God had asked you to do, to go around that mountain. And get to the very high top, which is where he would be with you and being able to help you and do those things, you'd understand that was a dead end on the other side.
Yeah, I've experienced both paths.
Yeah, it does. We know that.
And I'm so blessed. God, I was probably 40. 40 seems to be a significant number for some reason. The number 40. Moses was in the desert for 40 years, and I guess I was too. So right about 40, 41 years old, I really had an encounter with the living God,
right?
And got an opportunity to make a choice. I was at a crossroads, and I'm so thankful that I chose God. I said, no matter what, I'm going to follow you, and He has led me to places I never thought I'd go, and to be able to do the things and see the things and to experience things that I never thought I'd had experienced. And it all came from being obedient. Just like being a politician, I'm not a politician, but I'm in this position because I was obedient. I really feel that I was led and that I answered a call. And I'll just tell you one quick story. I don't know how much time we have.
We're good. I'll take care of that.
But
you're good to keep telling me where you're there, and I'll let you know.
I don't normally tell this story because some people kind of look at you funny when I tell a story. But when God prompts me to tell the story, I do. In the campaign, it was the first quarter reporting for everybody who was running for office. And so everybody got to see how much money everybody had raised. And the main opponent in my race had raised 3 times more money than I did in just 2 months. And I'd been on the campaign trail for a year.
Right.
And just the report, the numbers came in, and we were 3-1 or 4-1 outraised already. And I was riding down the road in my truck. I was running on Holmes Boulevard. I'll never forget. I was heading south, coming up to 207, and because I do a lot of praying and talking to God in my truck when I'm alone. And so I'm just, Lord, I know you call me to do this, but how do we combat that? I didn't have any idea that the negative campaign that was coming,
right,
in just a few short months, that they were going to spend, over $1 million trying to keep me and the Anns out of these offices. This was just money. This was just, we'd worked so hard, and
right.
And then just like that, we're behind, 3 or 4 to 1. And I was praying about it. I said, God, I know you call me to do this. I know you call me to do this, but I don't understand how we're going to overcome this. Because I was thinking very small. And I was coming by my mother-in-law's house, and I just felt God's hand on my chest, and he said, this is what I heard. He says, if you're the front runner, I get no glory from your victory.
Yeah.
And I was blown away completely. I still get real emotional about it because in my own flesh, I was really down. I was down. How do you fight Goliath? And then you realize that, David did it with a stone.
That's right.
And so I went home and I told my wife, I said, we're going to win this election. And she said, why? I said, because God told me we were.
Yeah. I remember I remember you telling me this. Yeah.
Yep.
And I can share that with you because it always happens that when he gives you that one talk that is so powerful that you could never forget it. And I believe that's the way it works as well. Stand firm.
Stand firm.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the way we work with love.
Yeah.
Love is the same way because God is love.
Yeah.
And so as we are finishing up right now, I want to kind of end up this for this year, and we'll talk about how we go on. And I'm so grateful to have you here today and willing to talk in places that are open to other people to hear what you're talking about. So just let me finish this up, and then
thank you so much for having me.
So here we go. So again, I think that you're right here with us now. If you're watching, and if you haven't watched, then that's okay. It's on YouTube and Facebook and on 904 Now that you can see. But frankly, it's really not about us. It's about you. And it's about where you will be this year and what will help you the most for this year and how you can do things that you never thought about. And that's because God will lead you on that path. And if you take that path and take the one that doesn't go to the other way, you'll find you're on a place that it's like going through in Disney World on the mountain, and you go into it, it's dark and you can't see a thing. And yet if you do that and you go through, you eventually get to the end where the light is with you. And so the darkness never should be a way that takes you away. It's the light that will come again, and you'll have that very strong light that will be bright, and it'll just be like the star that took us all the way to Bethlehem. So take your time, enjoy this year, do everything you can, and let God be with you. We ask it. Thank you, God, for being with us today. That's where we're at.
Amen.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I always enjoy hanging out with you.
Yeah, well, that's the way God is. So thank you all, and have a blessed day, and we'll talk to you in a couple days, next couple weeks. So next Monday, 2 weeks from now. All right. Thanks.